14th, 2021, here with Joe Madden, of course, as always. Well, it's yesterday was one of those days for me. It was like we're gonna have a new coach in Miami, so we'll have to see how that works out. And, after we don't take losing like that too well, so it's the nice thing about it is that we'll have somebody new in there, and maybe we get ourselves a winner. But aside from that, we've got a full card of NFL football today. We've got 7 NBA games as well. We've got college basketball starting in just a couple hours. So everything kind of in full swing. We've got it all covered at PickDawgz and at Sports Chat Place. As always, the betting tools are really firing on all cylinders. People haven't checked those out. And, of course, in just a few weeks, all of you out there will have an opportunity to become a capper. Work with us. Hang out with Joe Madden on Sunday mornings.
Yeah, it'd be a lot of fun, you guys.
So
what's better than waking up, grabbing a coffee, and coming and talking with us?
Well, how much time we got?
How long's the list? It's a lot of fun, Mitch.
Yes. All right.
Yeah, but those betting tools, Mitch, have been absolutely on fire. I can't believe all the messages hitting the inbox on how much money people are making off them.
Yeah, it's awesome. It is how much people have been hitting on those, and that's really what it's all about. It's about putting people on winners. I'm not here to sell picks, and I'm not here to do any of those things. I'm here to help you guys win. It doesn't really matter to me one way or another. I'm fine. It's like, and everybody else here is going to be fine too. But as long as you guys are winning, that's really what makes it all go around. So we're excited about that.
Absolutely. They're fantastic, you guys. So if you haven't checked them out, make sure you go over to both PickDawgz and Sports Chat's Place tools to check those out.
Anyways, got so a lot of guys were at that time of the season where a lot of guys were not sure what they're going to do. The guys are out. I thought it was strange that Odell Beckham Jr. signs with the Rams, and then all of a sudden Woods is out, so that they got lucky there.
And absolutely. Do you think they kind of knew?
Maybe they knew that something was up there. Maybe they just announced it. Who knows? But it just, to me, seemed an odd signing for them and for him. So
absolutely.
But I think the idea of being in L.A. was probably more his thing. Looks like we got snow at Lambeau here for this one, for the Seattle-Green Bay game. And I think snow at Lambeau in November is really kind of what football's all about. Of course, 85 here. It's going to be a beautiful day, but looks...
Rub it in a little. We don't have snow here in Canada, though. I am shocked where I'm at. It's brisk outside, but no snow is falling.
It looks chilly around the league here. I mean, I could see the temperatures are dropping. I mean, I could see it out there. I know I saw my first whale, come in a couple weeks ago. So that usually means it's getting cold everywhere else, and the whales are migrating here.
I love it.
That and the Canadian tourists.
That's awesome. I know a lot of people that have been over there in the last couple of months.
Yep, there'll be plenty more as well. Costco was jammed yesterday. I wasn't there, but my wife told me.
Invaded with the Canadians.
Pretty much. I think the deal is that the Costco is right next to the airport, so it's kind of like they know. Anyone that reads TripAdvisor, they know go to Costco immediately, because if you go to the regular grocery stores, the prices are it's like $11 for a jar of peanut butter, $9 for a loaf of bread. It's like it is.
Well, especially when you look at Costco in America, and you have all your liquor being sold there as well within the same store. So that's a nice bonus.
Pretty much, they've got it all.
But, and we do too here, but you've got to go in one door, out the other.
We do. I like to kill a little time at the beginning of the show, just to give everybody a chance to join us. And that's kind of what I'm doing here. So, in case people are wondering, but we have our first guest ready to roll here, and that's Ron Romanelli, fresh from Gainesville. It was almost ugliness yesterday as Samford came in and really racked up the offense on the Gators. Now Florida State comes in, plays some basketball. Ron, how's it going?
It's going good, Obviously, yesterday was pretty crazy. 70 points put up, but 52 allowed against an FCS team. So mixed emotions there, but obviously, the defensive coordinator's already fired, so we're already looking towards next year and rebuilding that defense. And yeah, I'm all dedicated on hoops right now. Got a nice Florida State team coming in. I'll be at the game with my friends, and should be a nice one.
Yeah, Leonard Hamilton has really built a beast there at Florida State.
Oh yeah.
I mean, this is they've really got something going on there. This is kind of his stamp on that program. He's had an amazing career before he got to Florida State, and now he's really kind of made it a Hall of Fame career now.
Yeah, and Florida State's a powerhouse in hoops. They've been that way for a few years now.
Factory, just it seems they have a lottery pick every year on their roster.
Yeah, exactly. It's not just good teams. I mean, they're producing NBA lottery picks each year. So, should be a tough game. I think the Seminoles are going to win it, but we'll see.
We'll find out in just a few hours. They're putting it right up against NFL football with a 1:00 Eastern time start.
Yep.
But we've got 12 NFL games today, and what are you looking at here early?
Yeah, I'm looking at that Saints and Titans game. I saw it somewhere. I can't remember the source, but I do remember reading teams coming off of 4 straight upset wins, and then the next week they're favored are 1-5-1 against the spread in NFL history. So it doesn't happen too often, but the times it has happened, definitely it's a good spot to fade those teams. And that's the Titans this week, coming off 4 straight upset wins, and now they're favored here against the Saints. And everybody's riding off the Saints because of a few things, some injuries at skilled positions. Kamara is going to be out for this one. Obviously, they're down to their backup quarterback. But there's 2 things that I like the Saints. One, you can look at Sean Payton. He's an offensive mastermind. He's been able to make do with what he's got. He knew Michael Thomas was going to be out for quite a while now. It looks like the whole season from the get-go. He had to replace one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time, and the Saints are still competing. The offense looked a lot better in that second half against the Falcons. I think they're going to be able to build off that momentum and play pretty well today with whoever's at quarterback for most of the snaps. And you look at the second thing, I think the Saints defense is still elite. It wasn't the best week last week, but the Saints are still putting good pressure on the quarterback. They have 10 sacks in the last 3 weeks combined. I think they're going to be able to put some pressure on Tennessee. Obviously, Henry's out, so I think the Titans' run game is going to struggle, and it depends on who's going to be quarterback. It looks like Ryan Tannehill will go at quarterback, but either him or Woodside, I think, is going to get plenty of pressure on him. And I think the Saints are going to be able to keep this one close. I think it's a low-scoring game, so getting any points is valuable in my eyes. So I'll take the 3 points. I think it's a field goal game, and I think the Saints could win it outright.
Joe, we saw Trevor Siemian throw the ball directly at defenders last week. Not a great strategy in the National Football League. He's thrown to a spot, and that's all fine and well, but you got to look to make sure your guy is actually headed towards that spot at some point, at least in that general direction. Siemian failed to do that, just like he did in Denver, where he just basically throws the ball directly into the other player's chest. You think the Saints turn that around today?
No, I don't. I think he's going to continue to throw to the spot that the play was called at, even if his player is there or not. I don't see him having a good day against his Titans defense that I think are going to be all over him. So give me the Titans for a big win. I think they beat them by at least a touchdown in this one.
Yeah, I think, when we look at Siemian and he's not a dummy, right? He went to Northwestern. Normally those guys are 4-year guys, and, he certainly was able to get the starting job in Denver, despite there being a first-round pick, in that stable of quarterbacks, with him. But, I thought that last week the loss was 100% on him. I thought it was 110% on him. He was hideous and inexcusable. I think it was one thing when they were unable to game plan against him the first game, and he came in, and they didn't expect it when they, the horse-collared Jameis Winston knocked him out of the game, so they weren't quite ready for him. But then last game, it was like the Falcons knew exactly where he was going to throw the ball. They just put a guy there. He just stood there, and Siemian just threw it right at him. And that pretty much is the way that it worked. And I just don't know if you can overcome that in a week.
Well, I think another thing is Simeon threw 41 times last week. I don't think that's going to be the game plan this week.
38 of them hit defenders, directly square in between the numbers.
Sean Payton, I think, is going to have a game plan to where they're not going to put the ball in his hands too often. You're going to see some trickery probably, and Payton, like I said, he's an offensive mastermind. I don't think he's going to be unprepared for this one. I think he's going to go into it with the plays that make sense, and I think Simeon will just be kind of the placeholder for this one, but we'll see.
The teams that have been riding high have not held up in the NFL this season at all. It's a crashing halt. I mean, this Titans team, tough to figure out, right? I mean, they'll go in and beat up the Rams in Los Angeles. They'll lose outright to the Jets. I mean, and that's pretty much the way this Titans team has been. But, I know you're going to the game today. You said that, and yesterday your Prairie View A&M just didn't fight the good fight there against Michigan. They didn't even cover the spread. I noticed that Michigan was shooting threes and dunking late in that game. And I mean, do you think, why is that sportsmanship considered different? Why do they get different treatment there? Because I don't hear anyone bashing them, but Baylor kicks a little field goal with 3 seconds left to go in the game, and it's like, oh my God, against the bullies of bullies, right? I mean, believe me, when I was a kid growing up, Barry Switzer used to get off the plane in Miami. It's like, well, what's the game plan for this year? We're going to hang a half 100 on them by halftime and put the scrubs in. It's like, that's what he used to say. And it's like, so it's not okay to punch them back in the face. I don't understand. What do you think of that?
Yeah, I really don't know. I mean, Michigan's obviously the darlings of college hoops. They were, one of the big favorites other than Gonzaga to win it this year. So, even against Prairie View A&M, which you got to give them credit. You look at the schedule that they've got. I mean, they play Oklahoma State today. They're back-to-back against Michigan and Oklahoma State. They've already faced St. Mary's and San Francisco on the road. They got Texas Tech on deck after this game. So, if Michigan wants to rub it in, good for them, all they want. They barely covered the spread. It was only, they were laying 23.5. They won by 28, I believe. But, it is what it is. I don't really, when teams kind of dress up the score a bit, it doesn't really bother me.
Yeah, but they were up by 24 shooting threes.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. It's tough to watch sometimes, but I think it depends on the person. I know some people, they can't stand it. They don't think it belongs in the sport. Me, I think it just comes with the sport. I think I've seen plenty of teams do it, and some teams go unnoticed. The smaller teams do it, and nobody cares. But since it's Michigan, it can be on a big. And the Baylor field goal, I think, is a little bit of a different story. I think, that one, I could see why people would be upset.
I could see why they would do it. I could see why they would do it.
They had it coming.
Let's look at the Baylor Oklahoma scores for the last 50 years.
Oh yeah.
I mean, let's look at them. I mean, there's going to be some 78 to nothings in there, because that's what Oklahoma does. They're the bully, and the bullies don't like to get punched in the face. It's like when Miami blocked the punt against Notre Dame, and ran it for a touchdown up by 58. It's like they start crying, like, all of a sudden, like, oh, when someone does it to them, they don't like it so much.
You have to run up the clock. It's a competition. This isn't a.
Well, there's 3 seconds.
Okay, let's take our foot off the gas.
Well, there's 3 seconds. There's 3
seconds.
3 seconds left to go in the game. Up by 20.
If I was the coach, I would have been calling a touchdown. I would have been like, "Let's get the touchdown. Let's just stick it to them here."
How about Aranda's explanation instead of saying, "Hey, I'm the coach of this team, and that's my decision to make," kind of the way the Alabama coaches have always said it, right, at the press conferences. I mean, Forrest Gregg used to say it all the time. He's like, I'm the coach, and that's my decision, and I stand behind it. Instead of that, Absolutely. He says, well, it's one of the tiebreakers, the point differential is one of the tiebreakers.
He needs to do that. My son's team was up last night. 55 seconds left. They drove all the way down that field. Yeah. And got another touchdown.
Why not?
That's what you got to do.
Yeah,
that's what you have to play like. I love it.
Yeah, I hate to take a knee, set up the position for the kick. I hate that stuff. That's like Chris Peterson always punches it in. It's like I don't know.
Yeah, personally, it doesn't bother me. I don't like when, say there's like a pick six on the last play and the guy goes out of bounds at the 1 yard line. I say you just punch it in, because sometimes these are the only touchdowns these kids are going to get in their college careers. So,
well, we have one more comment here, and I'll let you go. But it says Ohio State passes the eye test. Do you think Ohio State passes any eye test at all? They've beaten no ranked teams, right? All season. They haven't beaten a ranked team yet.
Yeah.
They beat Penn State. They beat Penn State, but Penn State has what, 5 losses now? That's their big win. Penn State was ranked 20th when they beat them. Okay, so they were ranked, but now they have 4 or 5 losses. How do they pass an eye test? What eye test did they pass? The eye test that I saw was Oregon having their way with them in Columbus without their best player. That's really was the eye test. No, I don't know. I'm missing it. Well,
they got 2 shots at the eye test coming up, and this next week's a big one. Michigan State's not going to go down easy.
No way.
This is one of the best games on the board.
They should have beat Maryland by 100 yesterday. I mean, they wrecked them. They scored a touchdown in the first 5 seconds of that game, and they never looked back. They were just like, oh, they're going to be depressed because of the loss last week. It was like 3 plays, 88 yards. It was like, I don't think so. They're dancing. Wish it was my Canes doing that. Anyways, what do you got for sale today?
Well, for sale, I got, kept it simple today for the NFL. I got my top 3 NFL plays in my Super Sunday trio. Looking like a 3-0 day. I'll take a 2-1 though. Those winning days I'll take. Looking for back-to-back winning days and a nice winning day in college football and the NHL yesterday. So check it out at PickDawgz Premium. I hope you join me. And just a quick note I want to mention. And I've been telling some of my friends this. I've been keeping track of the SWAC conference in college hoops. As you guys know, it's one of my favorite conferences to bet on and just to follow in general. Some of my favorite teams in there, Prairie View, A&M, Jackson State. But you look at the conference, they've played a lot of tough teams, and they scheduled some big Power 5 conference teams. They have done very well against the spread this season. I believe they're 17-5-1 against the spread, even though they're playing these tough teams. So check out the SWAC. I've been putting straight bets on every SWAC team, and I've been coming up big with, you just got to take the 30 points of Mississippi Valley State, close your eyes, and, they lost by 29 yesterday. So just check out the SWAC. Keep an eye on it. It's been a profitable conference.
Gotta love this. Get your SWAC on.
Mm-hmm. Get your SWAC on.
Well, thanks, Ron. And the follow-up comment here. Cincinnati can't even blow out weaker teams. Against the common opponents, they had very similar results. Tulsa and Indiana, very, very similar results for both those teams. So Ohio State struggled with Tulsa, and they both blew out Indiana at Indiana. So I don't know. I don't know what you're watching. People have short memories when it comes to, I guess it's the ESPN generation. They don't actually watch. They just watch what those idiots have to say because they have a financial interest in the game. It's like it's funny to see them change their opinions as it's piped in through their ear. It's like well, let's see what they would have to say if they were with us every week. But anyways, Ron is with us every week. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you Tuesday, of course, with Joe and I going over some college football opening lines and opinions. Just a couple of those shows left. We'll probably squeeze in some college hoops while we got you there. So have a great day and enjoy yourself at the game. And probably make some good friends there. Should be a good time.
Chomp, chomp. Go Gators.
Make sure you post some pictures. I can't wait to see.
I sure will. Good luck, everybody.
Good luck.
Well, that was Ron Romanelli, of course, with us every week and with us during the week as well. Also does, a lot of write-ups at PickDawgz as well. So definitely one of our guys, right?
Yeah. You guys, if you're looking for his best picks, head on over to PickDawgz.com.
Let's see who else we got in the green room.
We got a great lineup today, Mitch. I'm excited for the show. Lineup. Yeah.
Just trying to figure out who's next. I guess it will be, you could bring in Sean Murphy.
Perfect.
Do you want to do Sean or Al Ninos? How about Al Ninos? I got him queued up. Al actually was, so confession here. I actually got the times. I'm still got the times mixed up. It's like I'm struggling because we don't change clocks here. So I don't even know what time it is anymore. So I don't know what time. show starts. So I rang everybody an hour early today for the show.
Yeah.
So Al and Joe were the only ones that showed up. But it did happen.
I was sitting here and I was like, oh, wow, did I really use my time this morning?
Definitely. But anyways, they set me straight in a hurry. And actually, it was so weird because I had an hour to actually do stuff, to just actually it was so weird to it's like I want to get a new microphone, so I looked for my new microphone. I wanted to get this, and it's like, wow, I actually had time to look. So cool.
Good way to start your Sunday, Mitch.
Yeah, it was
I'm happy
so
with
weird.
that time.
I never get an hour like that to do that stuff. But
upgrading the mic, just more of the same. I thought that was supposed to be a pretty good one.
This is a good one. The Heil PR40 is a great mic, and I love it. But I just want to try this Shure SM7B. It's a classic, and I know everyone raves about it, so I want to give it a shot. So why not? I use it, so treat myself.
Hope you like it.
Me too. If not, I'll have my Heil PR. I still have my other one too.
It's a good backup.
Yeah, it's
better
great
backup than some teams have to put up with today.
Speaking of which,
That's a good point. Love it.
What are you looking at today in the NFL?
Not the prettiest game, but we're looking at the Broncos here hosting the Eagles, coming off a very impressive 30-16 win in Dallas, which is their second straight win actually. They've played pretty well against the bad teams, except for that slip up in Pittsburgh. Their other 3 losses, though, were against the Ravens, Raiders, and a 3-point loss in Cleveland. So, not necessarily games they're expected to win, to say the least. The Eagles haven't had the easiest schedule either, but definitely would have wanted that field goal they opened at if I was backing them. I don't expect Denver to blow them out by any means, but they do have the better defense, which is probably their biggest advantage and the reason I'll be going with them. They did trade Von Miller away, which was a huge piece of that defense, but they really stepped up without him last week, and I think they really want to show that this defense wasn't all just about him, and I think they come out pretty strong again. They faced a very talented offense last week, and I think it's a bit easier task this week. So don't see them giving up too many points here. They're still dealing with some injuries there, though. It's not just Von Miller that'll be missing, but again, just expect the next man to step up, and I think they play well. And I'll lay the 1.5 here with the Broncos at home. I think home field would be another huge advantage too.
It's definitely that time of year where everybody has injuries to deal with. Joe, what do you think about this one?
Yeah, I'm completely with you on this one. I think this line is too low. I think Denver should have been favored by a lot more in this one. We're looking at a defense that is the difference. You're completely right. I think they're going to own the time of possession in this game as well. I don't see it going any other way, but Denver getting a nice win here at home. They're 4-1 against the spread against losing records teams. And I don't believe in this Eagles team. 3-8 against the spread in their last 11 road games. They're going to struggle today. Their defense is giving up 24.2 points per game, while Denver's defense is only giving up 17. I think it's going to be a low-scoring, hard-hitting one.
Yeah, the Sharps really got crushed last week on the Eagles. They got just busted up, in that 1-point spread against the Chargers, which didn't even make any sense either. This line looks a little light as well, and it's just not a lot of faith in the Broncos. I thought getting rid of Von Miller was one of those situations where it was a good move for both involved. I think it was a good move for Von Miller. He's definitely in the second part of his career at this point, and being surrounded by those veterans with a team that has a chance to win now is a great move for him, and it's fair. And he is one of the better players to ever play his position. And it's always nice to see those guys to get another chance to absolutely win. I don't know with that quarterback exactly where they're going, but I think that for Denver, it frees up a tremendous amount of salary because this guy makes a ton. He makes best ever money, I believe. So it will free up a ton of cap for them going forward. So I think that is part of it. The Rams, I don't understand. I guess at some point they will have to bite the bullet and pay the price. That's the way that this usually works with these guys. Von Miller makes $17 million a year. He's at $70 million guaranteed was his last contract. 6-year, $114,100,000 contract is what he's sitting on. So at that point, it's kind of it's.
They did have some money to play with, though, the Rams, didn't they?
Well, apparently they do. Apparently they're more than we do. But the thing is he obviously didn't fit in the plans. They didn't feel he was going to be the difference maker. And I think sometimes you got to give the younger guys the chance, to go in there and replace. Obviously, they want to win games. They're not going to trade away an opportunity to win games. But looking at the Eagles here, I just, I think that the Rager pick from last year actually, I believe, is not as bad as it looked at the time. And Devonta Smith appears to be a player. Unfortunately, they have a guy that throws the ball like I do, playing quarterback, and that's a problem. It's like, I think you or I could do the same thing as far as the arm strength. I mean, obviously Jalen Hurts can run the football, but that doesn't really translate at the NFL level when you can't. The guys that are effective mobile QBs also have rocket arms. Russell Wilson, baseball player. Mike Vick, right? I mean, these are guys that can really throw the ball. The guys who've been mobile.
I love my mobile quarterbacks as much as anyone. But
this guy's got a rag arm. This guy's got a
to throw the ball. Yeah,
rag arm.
It's the dual threat part. That's the big thing. Yeah,
and I can only imagine how bad these throws are going to get in the altitude in Denver. I like the over in interceptions in this one. Joe,
they've turned it over quite a few times. So.
Yeah, and it's like in Denver, the ball will sail on you, so he's gonna have that problem as well because he doesn't have any experience playing there. I mean, you look at his college career; he didn't play any games out in the altitude either. But anyways, what do you got going on at PickDawgz today?
Really liked quite a few things across all sports. Just one college basketball play, but I do have a 7-pack with my 3 best NFL, 2 best NHL, and 2 best NBA bets. So if you want to check that out. If not, if you're just into one sport, I got a couple different packages sold individually as well. But again, this is probably the best time to check out a long-term pass or a 2-for-1 capper deal. Pair me up with another one of your favorite cappers.
What's up with the Lakers? Is just a bump in the road or time to hit the panic button?
It's too early to hit the panic button, and LeBron still hasn't really played, but they didn't even come out as strong as I wanted them to when he was playing, but it's still early and don't think they're too worried about it yet. As long as they get in the playoffs, I think they'll have a shot. So it's probably looking like that kind of season. They probably won't be playing for first place, but I think they just sneak into the playoffs and give themselves a chance.
Well, I think they tried that approach last year of sneaking into the playoffs and giving themselves a chance. They end up in the play-in tournament, right? And it's like that did not work out.
I hope they do a little better than that.
Yeah,
but,
I think they realized that if they want to just get into the playoffs and have a chance, you got to at least be in that 4-5 spot. If you don't want to be playing, one of the big guns right out of the gate like that. I mean, the Western Conference, there's not going to be any gimmies, in the West this year.
No. So it's a very tough conference. Yeah.
All right.
It always is. I mean, usually is. Yeah.
Well, thanks for joining us, and of course, we'll see you next week right here, and of course during the week on the drive-through.
Looking forward to it, and the drive-through. Always fun doing both. So yeah, enjoy the games today, and see you then.
All right.
Best of luck today.
Thanks. You too.
That was Al Ninos. Of course, get his picks over at PickDawgz.com. That game in Denver is interesting, and I think the way the Sharps have been on the Eagles, especially last week and now once again this week, is just super interesting. Because the Sharps get on these teams, they get it handed to them time and time again. Yeah. And, we've seen that almost every season they pick a team that they decide to get just woodshedded on every week. And this year, at least the last couple weeks, it's been the Eagles. So it'd be interesting to see.
Definitely have.
Because maybe it's green because they were on the Jets. It's
good point.
So maybe it's the color green. I'm not really sure. Yeah. I'm not a Sharp. I don't pretend to be, or anything remotely close. Those are the guys that get in early and move lines are the sharps, not
Green normally does equal money, but I don't think
not
today.
not the people following line moves. Those are called the sheep. There's the sharps and the sheep. The sheep are the followers. The sharps are the guys that actually make the bets and move the lines. But
absolutely,
a lot of confusion out there these days because of the amount of information that is available to us. But anyways, we are going to bring in Sean Murphy next on this one. Got a lot of people coming on. Of course, we're taking our sweet time with everybody, so don't care.
Which is a good thing.
Yeah, it's fine. These guys show up, they do the work, and they definitely all deserve the airtime. Winning and losing happens. It's all part of betting on sports, and especially being a capper where you have to show up every day. And it's like we all have hot streaks and we all have cold streaks, and it is the nature of the beast. And some of us just have more hot streaks than others, and that's just the way that's just really is the difference. You look at someone that hits 51% of their games and 55% of the games. It's really, it's 3 games difference, 4 games difference out of every 100 makes a difference between winning and losing. I mean, that really is as tight as it is. The backdoor covers, the
blown calls.
Yeah, the blown calls, the whatever. It's like,
the knee at the end of the game when they could go over.
Oh, yeah.
That kind of stuff.
The relief pitcher that comes in and gives up the solo home run when they're up by 2 and you're laying the run and a half, and then he strikes out the next 3 guys. I mean, that's really, these are the difference makers. But anyway, Sean, welcome to the show, as always. How are you doing this morning?
Good. How are you folks doing this morning?
Doing good, thanks. I noticed that you do a lot of Canadian football as well as NFL football. We don't have a lot of guys that cover the Canadian football. I know that Rod and Joe will occasionally give out picks on the on our YouTube show in the morning or on our premium show, but we don't have anyone that really hits it in the premium area like you do, and you seem to have some pretty good success with it.
Yeah, CFL, I've been covering it for a lot of years, and it's actually been one of my best money makers over the years. I find, you're just not going to get those same sharp lines with the CFL. This year has been a little different. At the start of the season, we weren't even getting the lines until some days the morning of the game. So it's been a little trickier, but we've also seen a lot of big line moves. Just kind of the books just haven't had a real good handle on the CFL. It seems like this season more than others. So we've been taking advantage of that, and it's been another fairly good year. So we'll try and keep that going into the playoffs here, which start in a couple of weeks.
Yeah, I know nothing about CFL, but I manually grade the picks when you put them in. I see sometimes it's like I have to double check the score because it's like you're getting 3 points and you're winning by 17 plus, and it's like am I checking the right week?
You're not seeing a lot of games that land right near the number like you would in the NFL or other sports.
They're just not even remotely close. Maybe some totals once in a while are fairly close, but those aren't even that close either.
Yeah, and CFL's this season's been different. Usually in the CFL you'll see totals. Most of them are north of 50, but this year the scoring's been way down. Most of the totals have been in the low 40s, and just lately we've kind of been taking advantage of a few low ones. But the numbers have been way off this year. But it goes the other way as well. I've had some games where I've had a team where they end up they're favored by 3 and they lose by 21. So it kind of works both ways. But hopefully we can land on the better side of those more often than not.
Yeah, it's just, the reason I brought up, it's just one of those sports that not everybody follows, but I think we have a lot of people like me who we just like to bet. So it's like, if you're looking for another sport and looking for some help, at least to get started, get pointed in the right direction, Sean's CFL has been very good. But what do you got going on in NFL today?
Yeah, so today I was going to talk about the Bills and Jets game here and the total specifically. It's kind of I'm on the over in this one. It's a little bit opposite of what I'd probably normally look to do, because you look at the Jets, they're coming in, they've had 5 straight over results. And you just kind of, based on how they started the season, you wonder whether that's really sustainable. But I think we all watched that game last week against the Colts on a Thursday nighter. And their defense is just a disaster right now. They gave up almost 9 yards per rush in that game. Today's matchup is a lot different. They're not going to face a team that's going to run it down their throats. Buffalo's going to be looking to pass it a little more, but I just don't see how a couple extra days of practice here on the extended week really helps the Jets defensively in this one. And you look at Buffalo; they're coming off that ridiculous 9-6 loss last week against Jacksonville. It was just totally kind of out of character for them that whole game. They still were bombing away. Josh Allen threw it 47 times in that game, but 6 points to show for it. We know they're going to come out here this week and look to kind of take it to that Jets defense. It kind of sets up similarly to way back in week 1 when they played Pittsburgh, and the Steelers completely kind of held them down in that game. They scored 16 points, went way under the number. Next week they came out and faced Miami and put up 35 without even really breaking a sweat. So I'm not too concerned about the Buffalo offense here bouncing back. I think they can rebound no trouble against the Jets. So the question kind of becomes whether New York can contribute enough to get this one over the total. But you look at the way they've kind of completely changed their offensive game plan now in the last few weeks. They're kind of coming out with more of a nothing to lose kind of mentality. I mean, they've thrown the ball, 42, 49, 52 times. And I know that has to do with playing from behind a lot as well, but they've kind of just thrown in the towel with their ground attack, and they're more concerned about just kind of slinging it all over the field. So looks like Mike White's back in there here for this week. I don't see them holding anything back in this one. Bill's defense, everyone still considers that unit to be elite. I think they do bounce back here, but I just think there's enough possessions, enough plays for this Jets offense to put some points on the board. And we're still looking at totals in the 40s here in these games, even though their last 3 games were, reached 67, 65, 75. This has been a low scoring series, but I think this number is just going to be too low today. I think it finds its way over the total.
Yeah, these games have been unbelievably tight through the years. Joe?
This one, I don't know. I'm scared of this game, to be honest with you. We saw what the Buffalo Bills did last week. Just got destroyed against Jacksonville. Now we're looking at a Jets team that can put up the points. This total of 48, I'm leery of. I was on the Buffalo Bills team total last week, over 31. They didn't even come anything close. So the one thing I'd be looking at is the Jets team total over 17.5. I think that's low. They're averaging right around that. I think we're going to see some mistakes by the Buffalo Bills in this one, and the Jets being able to get over that 17.5. That's where I have more faith. I could see Buffalo just hitting that under 30, and their defense has been incredible, only allowing 14.8 points per game. But I don't know, something has me believing the Jets will get over that 17.5. That's the only way I can go with this one.
I think when we look at the Bills this season, and they are just a strange thing because they are so loaded, right? And it's like to see them come and lose to the Jags 9-6, and that's there's a reason they played the games, argument, right? But the Bills have now lost 3 times this season, which is probably about as many times as they were picked to lose this season by some people, overall. Yeah. But when we saw them lose the other 2 times, they bounced back with super strong performances. And it'll be interesting to see what they do in this one, because now they've lost 2 of their last 3 games, when you look at this Bills team. And they do need to right the ship and make a statement. I think it's going to be bombs away. I could see the Bills coming close to this total by themselves in this one.
Yeah, the thing what I like about Buffalo is on offense, they don't really hold anything back. They're not the type of team that's going to come out and kind of grind away and just try and get the win.
Nope.
I mean, these guys usually, you look at the way they're going to throw the ball a lot. They don't have much faith in their own ground attack here other than Josh Allen running it. And I just think that's just after last week, 6 points against Jacksonville is just so pitiful. But you look at it, they still had over 31 completions, well over 200 yards through the air. I just see this as kind of a perfect bounce back matchup, because this Jets defense, again, is just, they've been getting kind of steamrolled the whole season. But last week, just what I saw last week in that game, it was just very, very, they hardly even got a hand on Jonathan Taylor on a lot of those runs. So it was just, I just feel like this is a game where the Bills go off. We just need the Jets to kind of chip in enough to help the total along.
All right. Well, what do you got for premium picks as far as today?
Yeah, so today I've got 4 NFL picks up. 3 of them go off early in the 1 p.m. Eastern games. I've got my division game of the month as well as my NFC total of the month. So those are the 2 big plays. Last Sunday we went 2-2 on the premiums. So hopefully look for 3-1 or better here this week. NBA and NHL have also been really doing well this past week, so we'll hope to keep that going here today. I've got an NBA play on the Spurs and the Lakers total this afternoon, and I should have an NHL play up for tonight here shortly. So that's what I've got on the go today.
Thanks again for joining us. We'll see you again next Sunday, and hopefully we have a nice winning day today.
All right, best of luck.
Best of luck, Sean.
Thanks.
Sean Murphy, like I said, one of the guys that really, like, there are people that dabble in, I always, for me, I like the guys that kind of like, say, these are my sports and I'm going to do them. And then there are the guys that kind of, I'm just going to play everything. And all of a sudden this sport's on, I'm an expert, right? It's like, he's one of the guys that really actually hits the Canadian League. He bruises them, it's like, that's why I brought it up. It's like, you might fly under the radar, but it's like, I notice a trend there, and it's called kicking some ass. It's a good trend.
He's making the money.
Yeah, it's
That's
a seriously
for sure.
good trend to have. So, anyways, we got a lot of guys kicking some ass. So it's been.
I really hope the Buffalo Bills kick ass today. That's for sure.
I'm not really sure they, it's like that series has been so close, but I could see the Bills doing it. I could see them running one up. There's only been really one blowout in that series in recent years. So makes it less than likely, but at the same time, the Bills have bounced back from those losses really, really well. So we'll see if they're able to do it today. But I could see the Bills scoring, in the 40s on their own today against the Jets. I could see that happening pretty easily. I don't have a premium pick or anything on that game, that's for sure.
Either do I.
No dog in that fight. But let's bring in Kevin Thomas. Good morning, Kevin. How are you doing?
Oh, great day, guys. Great day.
Representing the Green Bay Packers today. Aaron Rodgers back in action. We're all big Aaron Rodgers fans here on this show.
Yeah.
But anyways, yesterday you said it wasn't a meaningful game for Miami, but watch, Manny Diaz will be fired at the end of this season after that finish. And I'm telling you what, it's going to be a lousy year for me. I'm pretty upset about it. So trust me on that.
I didn't do too good either. The pick I gave out, they had 7 turnovers in the first half. Indiana just looked pathetic.
Yeah, I looked at my bets after the show, and I had a money line on Rutgers at plus 220. I didn't even realize.
Wow,
that I had
excellent
to bet
pick.
it. Yeah,
Excellent
I
pick.
didn't realize that I even had it.
Joke.
Indiana just absolutely terrible this year, but the Ohio State win over them was miraculous. It was just really something special. The Cincinnati win by about the same margin, really just not impressive, though. I don't get it. I don't get it. I guess because one was on ABC primetime game and the other one wasn't. I'm not really sure. It's Kirk Herbstreit was calling the game, so it makes it a bigger win. Not sure, but what do you got going on in the NFL today?
Well, I'm looking at that Packers game, and I'm looking at the total as we get Russell Wilson back and Aaron Rodgers back. Now, we all know Russell Wilson is a Milwaukee kid, probably wanted to play for the Packers, probably had a Brett Favre poster on as well. So I expect a big game from him, especially with all his weapons and stuff. And they both play to each other's weaks and strengths. Packers get back Aaron Rodgers, who everyone was bashing about him not being vaccinated and stuff. So anytime he gets bashed, it seems like his next game is off the charts. Look at that Saints week 1, how they got hammered, and he just came out the next game and torched. I'm looking at that. But then if you look at the over-under, we're getting 49.5, and I think it's because of the stats right there. Seattle 1-7 cashing the over. Now, you got to remember Russell Wilson played 1.5 of those games. And the same thing with Green Bay, 2-7. Green Bay, with Matt LaFleur, they like to run the ball, the little quick options and stuff, but they're averaging 24 points a game. They scored 24 against some of the better defenses. We got Arizona, Washington, Chicago, and then Cincinnati. And, yeah, Cincinnati does have a good defense, and they put 25 on them. So Seattle maybe the bye helps their defense, but they don't have a great defense. They're not really that good. I mean, Wagner, he's a stud, but other than that, Aaron Rodgers can light them up. You got Scantling back. Him and Adams hadn't played together in 2 weeks because Adams was out last week with the COVID as well, or 2 weeks prior. So I expect big things from this Green Bay's offense, and I think Seattle's going to go toe to toe with them because they need to win at 3-5. And like I said, Russell loves playing in the snow. I think if he had a choice, he would swap with Aaron Rodgers if they wanted to be in each other's teams. And I would take Russell Wilson. He's mobile and he's accurate, and he's got Metcalf and Lockett that scares me because our corners, as we did good against Kelsey in the Chiefs game. Yeah, we're good at bump and run with our tall corners, but we can't stretch the field. And Lockett's going to stretch the field, and Metcalf's a beast. So I expect lots of points here. I'm looking at 51 points, but you can get it at 49.5.
Joe, what are you thinking in this one? Packers and the Seahawks in the snow in Lambeau.
Yeah, I'm a little worried with the total with the snow. I know they're going to clean off the field. I don't know how much it's going to be snowing during the game. That's one thing I'd be looking at. I like the Packers here. I think give me Aaron Rodgers, especially just like you said, Kevin, when he gets trashed, he comes out and has phenomenal games. I think he's going to have something to prove. I think he's going to shut down a lot of his haters, make them hate him more. Because people either love him or hate him. We know this. But look at the Packers. They're 8-0 against the spread in their last 8 games overall. 5-0 against the spread in their last 5 games as a favorite. They're going to come out and do it again. I know Russell Wilson is back, and he is a great quarterback. Nothing against them. I think just the Packers at home are something special.
I think I like both these quarterbacks. These guys are both guys with chips on their shoulder, something to prove every single week. Russell Wilson was a 2-star recruit out of high school when he signed with NC State. This guy, 3rd round NFL draft pick. Aaron Rodgers, passed on by his home team who needed a quarterback, and ended up getting picked, almost 20th in the NFL draft. Plays every game like he's got something to prove. And, Russell Wilson is the same, So these guys, 2 of the best in the business and, 2 guys that have the rings to show for it. So these guys know how to win. But the thing about this series that we know, the home team has won 9 in a row. And I don't know if that's going to change here today. So for me, I think you suck it up, Buttercup, and you play the money line and just take the Packers on the money line at home, and say, I'm not one of these big money line, guys or whatever, but it's like when you have a trend that's that strong, then you're basically, the rest of the line turns into almost a coin flip for you there, because you have Russell Wilson, who does play in tight games, but at the same time, Aaron Rodgers also plays in blowout games. And, what's going to happen, when the Packers start leaping into the stands, we all know what's happened. They start running downhill, and it starts steamrolling. The snowball gets bigger and bigger and bigger, and, but I don't know if the Packers are going to get the calls because the NFL is going to make the statement, about, Aaron Rodgers and all that other stuff, that all of a sudden we're smarter than him or something, because they're not, right? We saw him on Jeopardy, kicked everybody's ass, right? And so it's like, I love that they try and make him out like he's stupid or something. It's like, this guy, did you see him on Jeopardy? It was like, if it was a fight, they would have stopped it, So I don't know. It's sad that has to come into the game, but like I said, the home team's won 9 in a row, and one of those games was the one with the referee, with the substitute refs, where it brought the regular refs back to work. It was that Monday night game, the golden tape play, So I think Aaron Rodgers was sacked 9 times in the first half of that game. Different Seattle defense. This should be a good one, though. This should be a good one.
Well, the over is 8-3-1 last 12 between these two, so I expect that 49.5 to go over. I think it's going to be beautiful weather as they heat that turf up. That grass gets heated up underneath.
Yeah, I still think when the snow's coming down, it's just in November at Lambeau, it's kind of like, this is football.
Yeah, they're great games to watch for sure.
What do you got today at PickDawgz?
Oh, I actually have a game of the year, but you're going to have to watch that because they just ruled out a couple players. I mean, I'm I'm loving my pick because I'm on the right side with the players they're ruling out. But I don't know how much that line has moved. But you can still get on my 3-pack. My NFL 3-pack is full of some good winners. I'm 58% for the season. Like I've been saying, I've been there since week 1, and it's week 10. I'm still on the leaderboard, 970 units, 58% winners. So you can't go wrong with the game of the year or the 3-pack.
All right. Well, the way our policy works on games where the line has moved and you become a loser on the other side of it on one way or the other is you just email me, Mitch at PickDawgz.com, and I hook you up with another pick. You just tell me what it is, and I can put another package in your account or whatever the case may be. But we don't like the purchaser doesn't pay the price on the line move. It's like that's just not the way that we do things. It's like
I think it might have been a point and a half, 2 points.
Yeah.
If it moved, like I said, I've been sitting there. I haven't been watching the line.
It's the lines are they're not dynamic. When the capper makes a pick, it's based upon the line that's there. We know that, and it's like if something happens and the line moves substantially and you end up on the wrong side of it by half a point or whatever, we make it right. So you just email me, Mitch at PickDawgz.com, whether it's guaranteed or not. Doesn't mean we guarantee non-guaranteed. It means that if it's a line where it's graded, where it's say the line's at 10. And, the line goes to 6 and they win by 7, something like that, where you're laying in the middle.
Only fair.
Yeah.
Only fair.
Exactly. But anyways, thanks again for joining us. We will see you again.
Always great to be here.
We'll see you again next week.
You.
We got 2 more weeks of regular college football left. We got tons of college hoops on the way, of course, in NBA, NHL, college football bowl season. So still tons of action. This is the time. This is the best time.
The best time, 30-day packages.
Yep.
Get on board.
Really?
Best time.
30-day or yearlies, even,
Absolutely. We'll keep crushing it, Kevin. You're doing amazing out there.
Yep.
Thank you.
All right.
Good luck.
See you next week. Kevin Thomas on the show.
That was fun.
It was fun.
I always like having Kevin on.
Yep. Next, we'll have Jovan Bertz on the show. We had that talk yesterday about Bo Nix, and I don't know. I don't understand how Bo Nix. It's like, how far does having your father, play for the team, be a legacy? How far does that? How much grace do you get on that?
Apparently a lot.
Apparently a lot, because what we saw was it's uncalled for at the college. It was what I couldn't get behind Auburn. And we see guys that have accomplished more replaced. Oklahoma had no problem replacing Spencer Rattler and no problem with it. And, we saw Jalen Hurts be replaced at Alabama, after going to the national championship game and winning the SEC title and all of those things. So it happens. I'm not sure Bo Nix is, going to be there next year.
Yeah. Mitch, is there anything in college sports where the sponsorship of the family makes a difference with these players on the field?
Well, I think Bo Nix's father, Patrick, played for the team, and it's like, he's Auburn, he's a guy, he's like one of the guys. It's just really tough. But, Cliff Kingsbury was fired at Texas Tech as head coach, so anything can happen at these schools.
Absolutely.
You don't win, you're gone. Ed Orgeron won a national title at LSU 2 years ago. He's fired, Manny Diaz, his father was the mayor of the city of Miami. He will be fired, after yesterday. He will be fired.
Yeah.
Right. But you see a lot of nepotism in college sports, especially college football. So,
yeah. Well, look at Syracuse basketball team. How many Boeheims we got. But actually, Buddy Boeheim, to his credit, he was burying those threes last year in the tournament. Became a star.
Yeah, he was.
But what do you got going on for NFL today?
We're going to look at this Atlanta-Dallas game. Going to go to Big D. And we all saw it. The Dallas Cowboys just had a pathetic offensive display. Was essentially shut out. I don't care if they scored 16 points. They was basically shut out. Those two garbage time touchdowns don't really count. But in this one, you got to look at a bounce back performance by them. To have they should have had a good week of practice. With Dak Prescott. A week into, or a week and a half or whatever into him coming back. I expect a strong offensive performance by them. They're still number one in total yardage at 434.3 yards per game, and they should move the ball consistently against this Atlanta outfit, who has consistently shown that they just can't stop good offensive teams from putting points on the board. They give up 27.5 points per game, and the Falcons on their side of the ball, they'll also move the ball against Dallas, because Dallas is the 25th team in the league in pass defense. And if they can't get pressure on the quarterback, then their secondary is just worthless. That's basically just the simplest way to put it. So I'm looking at a game, not quite similar to last year's comeback performance by the Dallas Cowboys when it was 40 to 39, but I'm looking for something similar. Both teams might get to the 30s. I'm really expecting Dallas to hit anywhere from 33 to 40 points, and quite honestly, the Falcons should be able to get at least 24 points, out of the Dallas Cowboys. So take the over.
Joe?
Yeah, I agree with Jovan. I like the over in this one. And I also like the Falcons with the points. I think this is just too many. I think what we're seeing out of Matt Ryan and the offense, they're going to be able to hang with this Dallas Cowboys team. They could even win it, in my opinion. I'm not completely sold on Dak Prescott being healthy. I see him making mistakes week in, week out, not just last week. I know they have been winning so many other games, but I think this is one the Falcons could actually take.
I think without the pass rush that the Cowboys, we saw what happens when Gregory and, obviously DeMarcus Lawrence out, it's just not really the same team anymore. And as Jovan said, the secondary is average at best. And the way that it works in the NFL, and I say this all the time, is you're not allowed to play pass defense anymore because of fantasy football, because of all the people that play fantasy football. They don't want to lose those people. So, which is why we heard all the whining on Thursday about the game, which I loved. But they had, so the way that it works now is that you have these guys, and they're called cover corners, and they actually, it used to be called man coverage, right? But now they call them cover corners, and they get paid the most money of any, next to quarterbacks, they make the most. And there's about a dozen of them that are just elite at this. So what happens is everybody rushes, on every play. It's just a blitz on every single play. And now they do what's called the run blitz, which was invented in Green Bay a few years ago, more than a few years at this point. They do the run blitz on every play, or just an all-out blitz, because you're not allowed to cover the receivers anymore. So the only chance you have is to rush the quarterback. So then what they do is they just throw the ball up, and generally it becomes this prayer. And so you have, these guys that can seriously run and jump playing receiver, guys like CeeDee Lamb, and, right? I mean, this guy's crazy athletic, right? I mean, look at the Hollywood Brown, it's like, or Tyreek Hill. I mean, you could throw the ball 100 yards down the field because this guy is the only one who's going to be able to run that thing down, right? So that's what they do. But when the quarterback's under, duress like that, that's when, so a guy like Diggs, who's okay, he's not that high level. When the quarterback, he all of a sudden becomes a good corner because the ball, these prayers are coming up short. So he's right there for the interception. But the problem is when you can't apply that pass rush anymore and the guy's got time to sit in the pocket, well, all of a sudden, it's Teddy Bridgewater having his way with you. And that is not a good sign. at all because Teddy Bridgewater is a nice quarterback. He's a serviceable quarterback. He's better than most. He's not better than a lot as well. He's good, but he's not, wow, we got Teddy Bridgewater. He's not
Middle road.
right, but he's good. He's not going to kill you. He's likely not going to carry you on his back either. He's one of those guys, and he's good. It's like I would take him over, tons over like Goff or Hurts or any of those guys, right? But the thing is that he's not a guy that's going to pick you apart like Tom Brady either. And the thing is that Matt Ryan is, and without Gregory and without Lawrence, you can't get that. They can't get that pressure on the quarterback. So they're going to have to blitz, and that's going to leave people open. And like I said, this guy's a surgeon. He's going to carve him up. I actually played the extended line on this one. I play in the NFL. I don't play a lot of regular point spread bets. I play the alternate lines, and I took this one with the Falcons plus 3.5. That's where I'm at.
I like it.
So I think Dallas either wins by 25 with the crap calls, or it comes down to a last-second field goal, one way or the other. But anyways,
That's how money gets made. You gotta take your shots in the NFL.
That's what well, the NFL is a crapshoot all the way. So I only play, I go through my bets with Joe when we do our halftime before we go on the air for halftime. Yeah. It's always, alternate lines every game. That's how I do it. That's how I pay for all this crap. That's how I pay for all this crap. That's how I do it. But anyways, yeah, I think this is a real interesting game, and I think that was exactly the take that I had on it, is that Dallas secondary isn't very good without the pass rush. And Lawrence and Gregory, it's not just two guys. I mean, two the better, You don't have, it's like you look at that injury list for the Cowboys, just a mile and a half long.
It's a mass unit.
It is. It's one of the longest injury lists in the entire league. Well, what else you got going on at PickDawgz today?
I got my Show Me the Money NFL 5-pack. 5 plays that I keyed in on, and I liked throughout the week, and I liked more as the week went on, because I like to hold out on a lot of my plays, so I won't put my plays on early. But this particular week, things progressed. Some players were out, some players, got ruled in, and it worked to my advantage, and I pulled the trigger on these plays. And I think, I actually don't have a lot of size. I have over-unders, but they worked out for me. So, I have that 5 plays that I think are going to be hitters. And, I'll have a couple basketball plays momentarily. I have one already on there. I don't know if they'll be just for longer term clients, or I'll put it out as a package. But regardless of what I choose, it's all there. Sports Chat Place and PickDawgz. So come get it.
Awesome. Well, thanks for joining us today. That was a fun one. I like this format. So I get a chance to talk to everyone, talk football. It's what I do, and it's like, believe me, if I had 5-6 hours to do it, I could fill the whole time. So matching today. So
yeah,
we're matching
absolutely.
A lot of winners.
It's fine. Hopefully, no saying the winners fit with it.
All right. So have a great day. Thanks again, Jovan. We'll see you next week. And of course, during the week on the drive-through.
Best of luck, Jovan.
Right.
All right. Jovan Burtz was one of our cappers we got from our Become a Capper contest last year. And we'll be starting a new contest on December 1st. We haven't put the rules out yet, but I know I'll get a ton of emails now that I've said that. How do I enter? Instead of emailing me, follow us on Twitter, follow us on Instagram. That is where the contest will be run. The rules, everything will be posted there. I promise. Under the PickDawgz Twitter, you don't have to follow me, Betting Badass, if you don't want to. You don't have to follow Joe, but you can. A lot of people do. A lot more than follow me, that's for sure. And then, but follow the PickDawgz Twitter and, of course, the PickDawgz Instagram. And that's where the contest will be. The rules will be there, everything, and you can become a capper on our site and hang out with Joe Madden on Sunday mornings talking NFL football.
Absolutely.
That's how it happens.
It's gonna be a lot of fun. I can't wait to see who we get.
Yeah, I think with the different rules this year, I'm not sure. I think we have a lot of people that are interested, and I think we're going to see a lot of people. I think with the rules this year and the way we're doing it, I don't know if we'll get as many people that are willing to do it, but we'll see. You know, it's like I think the people that will get entering the contest are the type of people that we want, and the type of people that are going to last in this business. Yeah. And like our next guest, Big Al McMarty. It's been around the block a couple times in this industry, but and we mean that in a good way. But looks like
the only time you can say that in a good way.
Well, yesterday he did the full 24-hour string getting ready for college football Saturday. There he is. He said he had his NFL picks ready as well when he was on the show yesterday. So welcome, Mal. How are you doing today?
Oh, I'm fine. I guess I have to enjoy my role as the grizzled veteran, right? After you've passed 50 years old, you have to embrace it.
I'm with you. I'm a dinosaur, out there, but don't have the record that you do to go with it. Unfortunately, they just keep showing up.
Oh, I don't know about that.
I just keep showing up, but speaking of winning and losing, it's like we all go through hot streaks and we all go through cold streaks. It doesn't matter who you are, how long you've been doing it, how great you are, how dialed in you are. You have the game that you're going to win. That's just, all of a sudden, 17-year-old walk-on kicker in a 35-mile-an-hour crosswind, and it's like your whole handicapping just went out the window. How do you handle these hot and cold streaks? It's hard not to chase, right? When you're cold, and it's hard not to get overconfident when you're hot, right? It's
I think everyone is different, and I don't know how. That's the most important thing. I mean, everybody is different. Everyone is wired emotionally differently. I don't chase at all. I don't that's not my problem, So I don't know. I mean, I think for me, if I get, through a cold patch, I had a cold patch, in September. I think you might get a little bit depressed, right? If games aren't going the right way. But I think I always, or my wife will always remind me, like, this is normal, it's routine, in a month, it will all be old news. And you just kind of when you have criteria to select your games, I also think you need to have a methodology. And I have a methodology. So when games fit the criteria I look for, I release them. And I think that helps get you through any cold streak, because you just know, these are the games, win or lose. If I'm 7-19 my last 26, I'm still giving out these games. I'm not changing anything.
So you don't tighten up at all, Al? When you've had like a bad day, never tighten up? Okay.
No. Or if I'm having a really good run, I don't force it either.
Yeah.
But I think it's really important for any young handicapper watching. You have to have a methodology. You have to know why you're giving out a game. And you have to write down the results of all your games. And then after each day, I think it's also prudent to go back and look at all the games you gave, you bet on, and ask yourself again, did I make the right decision or did I not make the right decision? Would I have released or bet on these games again? And I do that at the end of every day. I look at the games and I'm at the point now where I'm always pretty comfortable about what I gave out. And I'm rarely ever saying, shit, I wish I would have given out that play, or I wish I wouldn't have given out that play. And it's not results oriented. I mean, sometimes, well, anyway, yeah, every once in a while you might think like, I made the wrong decision there. You might have had a good reason. It might be that, damn, I don't want to lay 3.5 instead of 3, for example, whatever the reason is. But I think you just need to have a methodology and just go with it.
Are you making notes for yourself? Like there was a missed field goal, bad call on the field, player went out injured, in the cases that you lost?
Me, never. Because I'm not watching the games to know there was a missed field goal or you know.
Yeah.
But you know, I you know, but everyone handicaps differently. A fundamental handicapper, you know, maybe making notes about players and stuff about, you know, things he overlooked or things he overvalued. So.
Good to know. Thanks.
No, it's good because it's all good advice, and I think what you know the thing is everyone is different. My regular picks. You know, I know when I'm cold, I can normally stick with my system, and it will pan itself out over time. It doesn't mean I'm gonna have a winning year all of a sudden, or a winning month all of a sudden, or a winning day all of a sudden. But what does mean is that the system I know over time and over the long haul it works, and it's like I also know that you know Joe Madden and I happen to be two of the best halftime pickers in the history of the game. So it's like, hey, so I got my second chance all the time. So. I think we've hit more. I think I've hit more halftime winners. You know, in the last 2-3 years doing this. You know, since they've had live. I mean, I think it's easily been our most profitable thing. I mean, just Thursday night alone. I mean, we crushed it again at halftime. So we don't hit them all.
No, I'll tell you a quick story. This was probably maybe 1998 or so. This happened. A very famous handicapper in the business and one who had a lot of success for over a decade. When he called me up this one time, and he said, you know, he was a fundamental handicapper, and he called me up and said his stuff's not working that year, and he wanted to know what I had from a situational and technical standpoint, and he wanted me to kind of give him, I guess, an education because he wanted to switch his methodology, you know, if you can believe it, after having, you know, a lot of storied success doing it a completely different way for over a decade. And I told him, I said, you know, you're insane. You know, just keep doing what you're doing. I understand it's not working this year. I said, believe me, there are years where my stuff doesn't work either. I said, you just got to press through it and just stick to your own methodology because that's where you have success. You can't just switch from being a fundamental handicapper all of a sudden to being situational and technical. I don't think that works at all because I think each handicapper has a specific skill set. And if you're good at something and if you've got a proven record doing it one way, then just stick to it, even if, you know, you have a bad year. It happens.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. You know, if it works, it works. And normally, well, I thought last year was a little tough for me, you know, without the fans in the stands, some of those sort of things. But, you know, I just made some bad picks, and, you know, that's all part of it. But anyways, what do you got going on today?
Well, had a decent day yesterday, either 10-7 or 11-6, depending on the number in one of the games. Had a really good football day, 7-2, and I had Joe's Buckeyes as my top play of the day. So hopefully Joe rooted them home and helped out there. Today we're going to look at the Kansas City Raiders game. I think this is an interesting game. I also think it's a game that you can, in good faith, make an argument on both sides, you know, whether you like Kansas City or whether you like the Raiders. I'm going to try to make the argument for Kansas City, and I'd like to hear what you guys think about the game afterward. If you look at this number, I mean, you know, Kansas City's failures against points by now are very well chronicled, but it's also being baked into the number. And if you look at the last 3 years when they play at the Raiders, they were -14, they were -7, they were -7.5. Now they're -2.5, or in some places 3. And then you look at the results of those 3 games the previous 3 years. They won 40-33. They won, but they didn't cover the big number in that game. Then the next year they won 28-10. They won and covered. And then last season 35-31. They won, but they failed to cover. But of course, in all 3 games, if the line was 2.5 or 3, they would have covered the spread in each of them. So I am going to look at Kansas City here minus the points. And if you also look at what Kansas City's record is with these short numbers, when they're not favored by more than 3 points over the last several years, they're 21-9 ATS, including 16-3 ATS on the road. So I just think we've got this number here, especially when you can get it at -2.5. I think the value is on the Kansas City side. It's not a premium selection. I don't love the play by any stretch, but I would take Kansas City before I would take the Raiders.
Joe, Chiefs lousy against the number this year, but Al says they could be the play here. He doesn't love it.
Well, I hate disagreeing with you, Al, but I have to in this one. I think this comes down to what we've seen out of Kansas City so far this season. Um, I know that all the stats are saying to take them here, but I think when we look at this team versus a Raiders team that's had so much drama off the field and still has been pulling it together, I like the Raiders team plus the points. I was actually shocked they weren't favored in this one at home. Give me them as a home dog plus the points all day long with a sprinkle on the money line. I think they come out big. I think Kansas City has so many holes, especially on the defensive side of the ball. Their offensive line isn't protecting Patrick Mahomes at all. And even when they give him that protection, he's not making the big plays we saw last year. So I can't get behind KC at all.
Yeah, this is
I would also say, Joe, there's a lot of numbers on I still want to call them open on the Las Vegas side as well. I mean, I wouldn't necessarily say the numbers are on Kansas City's favor. I mean, I can make an argument for Kansas City, which I just did. I can also make an argument for the Raiders as well.
Yeah, I mean, the Raiders losing to the Giants last week, certainly.
They outgained them. They had turnovers.
Oh, yeah. Well, there was a play, and we were, Joe and I were on at halftime, so sometimes games start before we go back on the air. And there was a play in the game where I knew the Raiders had lost, and it happened early in the second half. And Carr had a play where he was scrambling. They were inside the 10-yard line, and he scrambled, and the first down marker was at about the 3-yard line or 4-yard line, and he slid at the 6. And something I never do, I just grabbed something off my desk and threw it at the TV. Because I knew at that point they had lost the game. It was second down when it happened, at third down, incomplete pass, and then they missed the shortest field goal of the season right after that. So I knew when he didn't dive forward to get the extra yard, just to get the first down there, that they were done in that game. And that really was it for them at that point. So I wonder if he looked at that. I just wonder if he saw that. And I'm going to guess this came up in the film room, I'm going to guess it did, because I can't be the only one that saw that. I mean, Joe saw it.
Yeah.
I mean, I had the Raiders.
I did.
I was disgusted. I had a golf tee. I threw it at the TV. What else do you have for us today?
I'm going to look at another game here. The Arizona Cardinals, they pulled a big upset last week. I think we've talked about this, Mitch. Each year there's that one team that gets you, whether it's the Timberwolves in the NBA. Well, for me this year, it's the Arizona Cardinals in the NFL. Like I've gone against them several times, and I just, they just keep getting me. They were a 5.5-point road underdog last week, and they pulled an upset. Of course, today, they don't have Hopkins, they don't have Kyler Murray, so it's going to be a much more difficult road to hoe. I'm going to go against them here, and I'm going to take Carolina. When you look at how teams do off division upset wins when they were a +5 or greater dog in that division upset win, those teams, when they're installed as a favorite the next week, they've gone just 73-119 against the spread going back to 1980, including 10-26 ATS the last 36. So the most recent trend isn't good as well. I think this is just one of those situations coming off that big division upset win and now favored by more than a touchdown at home without their receiver, without their quarterback. I don't want any part of Arizona. I'm going to take the points with Carolina.
Joe, Al, not thinking Colt McCoy's due for another 22 of 26 passing. What was that?
I don't know. And I'm going to have to agree with Al on this one. I really do think the Panthers can keep this tighter than this number is. I think everyone's going to be all over the Cardinals with all of the problems the Carolina Panthers have had so far this season. But I think it's a tighter one than most people expect. You look at their offenses, and Carolina is not doing as well as the Cardinals. Cardinals are one of the top scoring teams, but I don't think in this one without Kyler Murray that they get it done.
Yeah, I think this is an under all the way. Back in early October, about a month ago, the Cardinals had a 17-10 game against the 49ers. I think this one is going to be a very similar game to that. A lot of field goals and because Carolina's a tough defense too. Their offense has kind of hung them out to dry, the defense, but they've been able to hold it up. Unlike Washington, right, where the offense has hung that awesome defense out to dry, right? What are they, 32nd or something in the NFL? Washington, right? Who would have thunk that? Ron Rivera defense. But I think that this Arizona defense has had kind of an easy go of it because the offense has been so good and they've been, not on the field as much. So I think that I think this is one of those games that's probably a lot of action between the 20s and some field goals. So I like the under in this one too.
Yeah. Have you had a chance to look at the current number this morning?
For the under?
No. The side. Is it
still?
still?
No, it's dropping a little bit, but it's still over. It's still more than a touchdown.
I'm just pulling it up right here. Yeah, it didn't last night when the news came out. I see 9.5, 7.5 at BetChris, which is having some really oddball lines this year. Can't even look.
8.5 at DraftKings is the low, and I see a 10.
It just was a delayed reaction. I thought last night it would have dropped to where it is now sooner, but for several hours last night it was still 10.5, and I didn't quite understand what's going on here. They've already announced Murray and Hopkins aren't playing, and the number's still 10.5. I didn't get it.
Yeah,
so at least it's moved.
8 at FanDuel.
Yeah.
So it's kind of all over the map.
Yeah, we might see some upsets. Through the first several weeks, there was just that one upset, the Giants, New Orleans, where a team was a 7-point or greater dog, and they pulled an outright upset. Now, lately, the last couple of weeks, we've begun to see what we know and love about the NFL, that these, ridiculously, big underdogs win the games outright, like we saw on Thursday with the Dolphins and Ravens. And there's several opportunities today for that to happen as well. So it could be a fun day in the NFL.
You think that in some of these injuries, little overreaction? I mean, the Lions are still on the road at Pittsburgh, and this line's down. I see 5.5.
Yeah, no, that's not an overreaction at all.
Well, Mason Rudolph is terrible, but Jared Goff is worse. And you got Dan Campbell against Mike Tomlin, which is a coaching mismatch as well.
I think Detroit's a live underdog today.
To win.
Oh, yeah.
To win.
Yeah.
All right.
Detroit's not going 0-16. They will win.
Yeah, Thanksgiving Day, they got the Bears at home.
Sure.
We've already circled. We've already circled that as their win.
They might win. They might win today. I wouldn't be surprised.
I would be absolutely shocked if Pittsburgh didn't drill them. I would be. Because it just seems like I don't know. I think that we see this overreaction. We do a lot of these shows. Tons. And to me, I think the injury with the player out is one of the most public reactions out there. We saw it yesterday in that Jazz Heat game.
But that's not why I think Detroit's a live dog. I thought Detroit was a live dog even with.
I thought with the points. I liked them. I liked them before at the 8.5 before the injury. Is where I liked them, at least to cover. But I don't like them here because now it's like the world is on them,
I don't think the world's on them. The world would be on them if they kept the number at 8.5. That's this is an adjustment in anticipation of what people would do if they didn't adjust, right? So all the sharps, if you don't adjust the number, all the sharps would, of course, take the Lions plus the 8.5. So you move the number. That doesn't mean necessarily that people are on
74% of the money is on the Lions in this game.
Post today?
Yeah, really? 76% of the money line is on the Lions.
That's crazy.
Yeah. That's a lot of money on a bad team. That's a very
Jared Goff.
It's a lot. But I mean, who in the hell knows where this data comes from? But it's like I'm just saying.
Yeah,
it's
that's
like,
one of the reasons why I try not to look at that data.
Yeah, Mason Rudolph is so bad though. I mean, he's not even the best backup on that team. It's like I don't understand how that guy's still with the varsity. I would have cut him in the preseason.
I don't understand how he's even in the league. I do not like him at all. Yeah,
it's offensive. I haven't seen quarterback play that bad since Bo Nix yesterday. Anyways. What else you got for us at PickDawgz today?
Oh, I've got lots of stuff over at PickDawgz. As I mentioned, a decent day yesterday in football, especially 7-2, hit most of our top plays. Today I've got 7 selections in the NFL. I've got 1 play in the NBA, 1 play in hockey, 2 plays in college basketball, so 11 plays across the board. including my NFL game of the month for November. So it's a pretty good day today. And no, my NFL game of the month is not on the Detroit Lions. People don't have to worry about that. But it's a really good play. So I would advise people to get on board.
Yeah, I know, with college basketball starting, it's like we're all on overload. And I noticed, like, I noticed yesterday I think you were the only one with me on Belmont, which I thought was the easiest game on the board yesterday of any sport, of any game. How dialed in are you on college basketball this season? You treading lightly? Or are you gonna?
I look for early. It's business as usual. Early in the season, there are certain situations that I look for, but I don't make them big plays or anything. Not until, Christmas probably will have a big play in college basketball. Just kind of tread lightly as far as the strength level of the plays go. But I'll have plays if certain situations happen. I can't believe, I don't know if you guys talked about it, but I thought the Ohio State Buckeyes were by far the best play on Saturday's card yesterday. I don't know what the rest of the world was doing with that game, but I thought Ohio State was as good a play as you're going to, find yesterday.
For basketball or football?
No, football.
For football? Brian gave that one out as well.
Yeah, I was scared of that one for sure. Just because a little bit of bias being a Buckeyes fan, I was worried of taking them. So congratulations on getting that.
Yeah, it's I think that narrative about Purdue being the giant killer, I think Ohio State decided to write its own narrative there.
Yeah.
I thought that was a pretty obvious play.
They weren't the giant killer against Minnesota at home this year, that's for sure. But anyways, thanks for joining us. We'll see you next Saturday.
I'll talk to you next week.
And of course,
thanks guys
on the drive-through. Thanks for stopping by.
As always. Okay, I'll talk to you guys next week. Good luck as always.
Yeah, best of luck, Alan. Thanks for all the added information today.
Thanks, Joe. I'll talk to you soon.
I know.
That was Big Al McMorty. Wealth of information there. A lot of good points that he brought up about how to handle those hot and cold streaks. I mean, they come and go, man. They do, and they hit hard, and the worst to me is when you feel like the cold streak is over, and then all of a sudden you get backdoored, with a really horrible beat on top of it. And it's kind of just like, where does it end? And it just seems like a waterfall, an avalanche of them coming on you. But, it always seems to end, and then, always seem to come out of it well. I always, what I would always do is go to Vegas. I would just stop what I was doing. I would just get a trip to Vegas. And people would say to me, like in the show and stuff, stop what you're doing, get on a plane, go to Vegas. And I would do it.
Yeah.
And it would always work. So,
well, there was some Mondays I was known to sit in the pub at 10 a.m. and have a drink because my Sunday bets had gone that bad.
Well,
but I haven't done that in the last year.
Well, we know what Chris likes to do when he has a bad day. What is that, Chris?
McDonald's. No, I'm kidding.
You head to Macca's, hey?
Slow, painful death.
Yeah, no. And nothing a Big Mac can't fix.
We got a comment here that Rudolph is better than Goff. I don't know about that. I don't.
Neither do I. That's gonna be.
We're really digging deep there. I'm not really sure about that.
Oh, Rudolph, I can't even look at him. He drives me insane.
Yeah, he's god awful. He is terrible. But Roethlisberger hasn't been great this year either. He hasn't.
No, he hasn't.
That line opened at 10. It was 8.5 quick. And then it's down to 5.5. But Chris, what do you have going on today?
I think it's very topical that you bring that up because this Lions and Steelers game is the one that I'm talking about. The news was obviously now about Ben Roethlisberger being on the COVID list, but even though the Steelers had won 4 straight coming into this game, I haven't been overly impressed with the Steelers for much of the season. And, you look at the Detroit Lions, 0-8 on the year, but they've been competitive in a lot of those games. And, yes, they were blown out by the Philadelphia Eagles in their last outing, and probably what was their, most winnable chance at a game, heading into that game. But, I think that this is a good spot as well. Like you said, Mason Rudolph, not the ideal backup quarterback if I'm running an NFL franchise. And, the Steelers here just haven't been able to really do all that much in the favorite role this season. When they've laid at least 2.5 points this season, they're 0-4 against the number with a pair of outright losses. And, I just think that this is a spot where the Steelers can't make up for that one extra injury, which is the biggest one, I think, to Ben Roethlisberger. I think Jared Goff puts his best foot forward today. I think the Lions defense shows up, takes advantage of a banged up Pittsburgh team, and I think they get the outright win here. So you can take the points if you want, but I'm going with the Lions on the money line in this one.
Money line, Jared Goff and Dan Campbell.
Goff on the money line. I don't like it. Sorry, Chris. I don't know. I'm not taking a side in this one. I don't like Mason Rudolph. I don't like Jared Goff. I think both of them are going to have a hard day. I think we'll see the defenses step up more than anything. I am kind of concerned on this total, though. It has dropped down to 40.5. Liked it better around the 43, 44 mark. It's going to be one of those games. I can see both quarterbacks making mistake after mistake. I think it goes over if the defenses can capitalize, get some defensive touchdowns in this one.
I'm totally on the opposite side of this one. I think the Steelers, originally, I was going Lions with the points. Originally, I thought that was the play. But I think now I really, really like the Steelers, and I like them at the light line, and I'm going to probably push this thing up to 9.5 or 11.5 if I can. And grab the value here. I think that what you see is and what you would expect is that the public is all over the Lions in this one because Ben Roethlisberger is out. Ben Roethlisberger is out. He's been terrible this season. I got news for you. He stinks this year. He's a Hall of Fame quarterback, Super Bowl champion several times over. Controversial calls in one of them, but he is 3-time Super Bowl champion, right? I mean, this guy has done it all. There's no reason for him even to be playing the game anymore. He's been injured so much. But this is a way overreaction. At the end of the day, you got a Dan Campbell coach team with Jared Goff playing quarterback at Heinz Field on a Sunday in November. Good frickin' luck. I'm taking the Steelers. I'm laying a bundle. I don't care. This is a statement game for us. This is a game we saw a couple weeks ago when the Sharps were all over the Lions, 44-6. The Eagles and Jalen Hurts looking like Daryl LaMonica throwing bombs down the field on them. I mean, I don't think so. So, all right, maybe I'm wrong. I could be wrong, but I don't see it.
I think it's the best way to go.
I don't see it. It's still the Detroit Lions at Heinz Field on a Sunday in November. This is bad. This is a bad day. You think those calls that the Steelers got on Monday night were just for the hell of it? The NFL loves when the Steelers are good, man. They're one of the most popular teams. You ever go? You've been to the sports books in Vegas. You see what it looks like on Sunday. Steelers and Packers, everybody.
Yeah.
Cowboys, Steelers, Packers. But yeah, I'd say Steelers and Packers even more popular among those than the Cowboys.
Yeah, the amount of jerseys you see in the sports book, too.
Crazy amount.
Yeah, I just refuse to get behind Goff. Refuse to.
Since when? I thought you liked him.
Since the last time he screwed me over.
Last
never
week.
getting behind him again.
Last week.
What was it? 2 weeks ago?
2 weeks ago.
Feels like a year ago, but must have been 2 weeks ago.
When you took him on the money line in our office pool.
Yeah. I was like,
I forbid you to take the line. She's like,
well, see, that was the problem. You forbid me, and I was like, oh, hell no. No one tells me what to do.
You cannot take the line.
Never forbid me. I'm going to do the exact opposite.
Oh. Don't take that. Let's go through all my. Don't take the Chargers.
Try me.
Runs in my family. I got it from my mother.
All right. What do you got going on today at PickDawgz, Chris?
I was going to say Mitch gets Christmas cookies with bites taken out of them. Joe's going to get a Jared Goff
It was a
jersey
mound.
sent to her for Christmas.
It was a ball of cookie. It was delicious.
You just had to pick at it over a week. You'll eventually find the good stuff in the middle. But now today I got a little bit of everything for everybody. I got some college hoops on the board, some NBA, or if you're just looking for NFL, I got my Shotgun Sunday 3-pack. 3 plays on the board that I really like today. So we're going to hope to keep our winning ways going into next week. We're just going to try to keep the momentum going. It's been a rough last couple weeks, but I think we're starting to see the tide start to turn. So definitely jump on board. A lot of people jumped on the long-term passes. It's going to be some of your best value. All the sports starting to bleed together, and this is where you're going to get the most bang for your buck, especially heading into the holidays. So definitely check that out over at PickDawgz Premium.
True story. When I met up with the Ruffalo in Vegas, the guy shows up with a bag full of candy and chips. It's like, what's in the bag? That's candy and potato chips. He's walking around the Vegas Strip with a bag of Smarties and coffee crisps.
Out of context, if you say that I show up with a bag of candy and chips, that sounds really bad.
It happened. You can't make this stuff up. It happened.
I like it. All chocolate kind of candies, or did you have some gummies mixed in there?
Smarties and what was the other thing? Coffee crisp. Good stuff.
I like it.
Good stuff. They didn't go to waste. That's for sure.
I was going to say, and Joe, if you ever go to Peppermill with Mitch, don't try to order the fruit cup.
Okay. Story behind that? Doesn't like the fruit cup?
It's just a long day. That's what it turns into.
Love it. Don't order the fruit cup. I'll add it to my notes.
All right. Well, thanks, Chris, for joining us. Of course, we'll see you during the week. And, Chris is going to start doing some college basketball videos along with the hockey videos that he does at PickDawgz. We're going to try and figure it out. We're just going to try and the idea is that we're just going to try and cover more games. I can't get to them all, and it's like I can get to a good amount, but I can't get to the amount that I want to do. It's like tomorrow there's 11 NBA games, but then we have a ton of college basketball, and not all of them are mainstream games. So it's like I know Chris doesn't just follow the mainstream, so I know that he'll be able to take a few of those off my plate. We're not going to cover them all, but we're gonna try and get have Chris at least do a few a day to add in to what we're doing. So I appreciate it, and of course we will see you tomorrow on the drive-through.
Absolutely, we'll see you guys then.
Chris Ruffalo.
Have a great day.
Taking the Lions on the money line.
He's brave.
Well, he's been taking these big money line dogs on the show all the time. So
yeah.
Where are we at? I don't see anyone in the green room.
Everyone leave.
They all left. We had Brian and Rod, and they're gone.
Oh, interesting. Well, hopefully they call back in here. I'm not seeing them in the green room either.
Huh.
Do you want me to send them a message?
I think they
Send them a message?
I think they know they're supposed to be on the show. They were on there, right? Whoa. Now I just hung up on everybody. But anyways, we'll see what happens here. Sorry about that. I kind of lost everybody right in the middle of the show. Sorry, Joe.
That's okay.
I lost you there in the show, but I see Rod is back. So let me I lost you on this one. Hang on a sec. Let's see if we can get you back. I hit the hang up button on the Skype trying to hit the chat.
Like, Rod and Brian aren't here. Okay, bye, Joe.
No, I hit I tried to hit the chat button to send everybody a message. And
tell me how you really feel about me this morning.
Oh, it's okay. I who calls you at 9 a.m.? I did.
Just you.
Who was ready to go? Who was chomping at the bit?
Yeah. I love it.
Who's going to do 6 shows with you today? I am.
Absolutely. I'm excited for all our shows today. I can't wait for halftime, Mitch. They are my favorite shows.
Yep. We've got Rod with us now. Rod, welcome. Let's see. Muted. Morning. Got NFL action. Kicked some butt in college football yesterday. You've been on a heater, and that's always a good thing. They don't last forever, so we enjoy them while we have them, and definitely makes up for some of the rough days. It's fun when you're on the heater because you forget about the bad days they had and all those bad beats and those months where it's like it's like, how am I gonna crawl out of the pit? But yeah, Rod has been red hot and kind of carrying us. But of course, NFL Sunday, one of the toughest things that there is. So hopefully you can carry it into today. What are you looking at today in the NFL?
Well, we'll start one for you guys. We're going to go with the Colts and Jags game. I don't think anyone's talked about this one yet, so we're going to go with it. We're going to go with. I'm going to take the Jags here. Bittler's probably in the background going, "Yeah, I take the Jags, Jags," as you would say.
I still don't see him on the show. I don't know where he went.
I don't know where he went either. But anyways, I think there's too many points. And historically, you look, Jags are 10-1-1 the last 12 meetings versus these Colts. They always come to play in this spot. It's a little voice in like my head that says, "Hey, remember this spot? They always give too many points." So for me, it's like this Jags defense has come to play. We've seen what they did last week to the Bills. They shut down their offense, and we know what Wentz does. Wentz is good for a good INT right in the middle of nowhere to get you a backdoor cover when you want it. So for me, I'm going to take the Jags here plus the points as the underdog here in this. I think it's just too many points. I don't trust the Colts and Wentz with that many points. Sure, they did it last week, but and they are 4-0 against the lower, weaker teams this season. But for me, I think it's just too many. This Jags D has stepped up, and Jags are slowly getting better week by week.
Joe,
give me the Jags here plus the points.
Urban Meyer, one of my people.
I'm not buying it. I'm not buying it. I think the books are trying to trick you here. Take the Jags plus the points. After what we saw them do to the Bills last week, there is no way I'm going to touch the Jags. Give me the Colts minus 15. I think they come and get a huge blowout. I don't see it, right?
Yeah,
I would take the Colts
so I don't see
minus
it
the
either.
points, but yeah, I think they win this at least over 2 touchdowns for sure. All day, twice on Sunday. There's no way. This Jag team sucks.
Tough to go against the guy on the heater, though. It's tough to go against.
It is, but you look at the Jags. They're 1-4 against the spread in their last 5 games after win. They don't come out and win after.
No, they got crushed. They don't just lose either. They get absolutely destroyed. And the Colts actually have that extra 3 days of rest to heal those bumps and bruises. And we know that the Jags, to get that 9-6 win, I mean, they left it all out on the field in that one. So.
Oh, absolutely. They're not hanging with this Colts team. The Colts can put up the points. The Jags still can't put up the points. I'm not buying it. I think this is a trap.
I think under 47.5, and I think it's, that's going to be tight with that. And I think it is the Colts scoring the bulk of that. I could see the Colts getting some defensive scores in this one.
Oh, absolutely. Trevor Lawrence can throw a good interception every once in a while.
Rod, do you want to do another game?
I'm
waiting for Brian, see if he shows, Brian shows up.
Soken wins.
Way more faith in Wentz.
Neither of these guys are going to carry it on. Well, I see Brian is back. It looks like he's on his phone. His computer must have rebooted.
Oh, probably.
Do you want to do another game, or you want to pass it over? It's up to you.
I can give you a quick hoops play. For me, I like. We got the Gophers here versus Princeton, and the Gophers up to start here. But I'm going to take Princeton. I'm going to take Princeton on the money line over the Gophers because they just barely scraped by that their last matchup, and everybody's going to hump up on Minnesota in this one. And Princeton looks solid. They got a solid team on the court. And I think they got a shot to outright them today. So give me Princeton on the money line over the Gophers in college hoops.
Joe, have you looked at this one?
No, I haven't. I get so wrapped up in football coming into the weekend. So I will be doing more college.
Wrapped up in it all. I go crazy. I love this loaded football. It's this time of year. You got to go crazy. You can't just focus on one. You got to go nuts. Woo.
Yeah, I'm treading lightly. I haven't released any college basketball yet. I've just been betting it personally myself. I'll be releasing it in the next week here. So
nothing
like
wrong
to
with
start
that. There's
light.
a lot of games left to be played.
Yeah.
Lots of games.
There is literally thousands and thousands of games left, so plenty of college basketball
it's time
left
to
on
get
the
200
table.
more games in.
I did a video on this one. I took Princeton as well. I just think that, in the Ivy League, for me, it's either Yale or Princeton. I think Yale might be the better of the two, of those two teams.
Yeah,
we didn't see Princeton play last year, but they definitely picked up exactly where they left off. I think the thing that Princeton can do to teams, and I think Yale does the same thing, but not quite as well as Princeton even does, even though I think Yale, like I said, is the better team. I think they just have better players. But Princeton can really change the pace of the game on you, and you could want to run if you want to. You can try it you want all day long. These guys are going to slow it down, and they are going to dictate the pace of the game. And I think it's going to frustrate Minnesota because at the end of the day, this Minnesota team is not that talented. So I think they're going to struggle here. I like Princeton as well on that one. Rod, what are you selling today at PickDawgz?
Well, we were off a great day yesterday. Went 5-0-1 in college hoops, or 2-0 in college hoops, 5-0-1 in college football. We crushed our top play of the day, game of the year with Baylor. This week I got my 10-star AFC game of the week up there, along with 4 other solid Sunday bets in the NFL. So you get my Sunday, big Sunday ticket in the NFL, or I have a 3-pack of my top play in the NHL, college basketball, and college. And the NBA. So NHL, college basketball, and the NBA. Got a nice little 3-pack there. Or you get my 5-pack of NFL over at PickDawgz Premium. Let's see if we can keep the streak rolling. Feeling good.
All right. Good. Rod has been red hot, so be sure to grab those packages. But Rod, we'll see you in a couple minutes for the premium and VIP shows.
Sounds good.
All right, that was Rod, and I see Brian
Good luck, Rob.
Back in the green room. It's
Mitch, I'm slamming the Colts. Wentz is missing the birth of his kid. Are you kidding me? You're telling me this quarterback's not going to come out guns a-blazing today? I'm hammering Colts now.
That is that's dedication. That's for sure.
Absolutely.
Well, the thing about the Colts,
I mean, just mine will be somewhere else.
The Colts have they've had a rough start to the season, so they have to win now. It's like they don't have that cushion anymore.
This is the Jags. Give me a break. It's the Jaguars.
Speaking of Jaguars, oh man,
I like that name for him. Bring in Brian.
Yeah. Let's see if we can find him on here. For some reason, I always have trouble finding his name on the roster. I should put these in alphabetical order. You think that would probably
just
help
look
me.
for Sharp.
It says. I don't think that's what it says. It might say something besides your name, but I don't think that's
shithead, whatever.
Starts with an S, one way or the other.
There you go.
You guys hit that thumbs up for Brian coming on in.
Oh, NFL Sunday. We are at the midway point of the season. This is kind of like now we have a lot of data under our belt to really work with, but I don't think we've seen any solid consistency from anyone out there. We've seen, teams like the Titans go out and beat the Rams, and we've seen them lose to the Jets. We've seen them beat the Bills, right, and lose to the Jets. We've seen the Bills, beat the Chiefs and lose to the in Arrowhead on a night game, and then lose to the Jaguars. And then we've seen the Jaguars lose, 31-7 against Geno Smith, and beat the Bills. So see the Dolphins, get slaughtered by everybody and then beat the Ravens in a no-doubter. So that is the NFL. That's the reason they play the games.
I apologize to everybody for my technical difficulties today. I forgot to plug my computer in yesterday, so it didn't have enough power to make it through the show. So
It's all me. But I love Rod's pick on the Jags. That's a very good play. Love it today.
Well, what do you got for us today, Brian?
Yeah, for me, I got a play you probably will hate, but here it goes here. For me, a play that just missed my premium list was the Washington football team. It's been a team of disappointment for me. I picked them to win the NFC East, and I thought they would offer a ton of value to bettors this year, and it's been the opposite. They're 1-7 against the spread this season. Worst team in the league, worst cover team in the league. They're 0-4 against the spread at home. But with all these spread losses, we get an inflated line, in my opinion, especially playing a big public guy like Tom Brady and the Buccaneers. Buccaneers are just 0-5 against the spread as a road favorite, and the underdog in this series is 8-1-2 against the spread. To me, I think this is a boatload of points. If you're getting 9.5, I think you're good. Take the Washington football team. Never know, they could shock the world and win this game outright, but I'll take the points.
Joe, both these teams coming off a bye.
Yeah, both off a bye. It should be an interesting game. I trust in Brady more than I do in Taylor Hickey, right?
Heineke.
How do I say this?
Heineke. But
I wanted to say Hickey, sorry. Yeah. Yeah, we look at the difference in the offenses here. Brady's just so superior with all his weapons around him. 34.5 points per game they're averaging, while Washington is so bad at 13.8. I just think the Bucs are due for a big day against this Washington football team, especially at the bye. But I'm not going to take a side on this. I'm going to look at the over, because if Washington can hang in there, I think we get over that 51 with the Bucs putting the majority of the points. But Washington could, I want Washington to win more than anything. You guys know this. I have been high on Washington. I'm just not seeing it. I don't know if they can. So I like the over.
The strength of Washington team, I think, is still their defense. It hasn't shown up all year, but they got that great pass rush. I think they get to Brady, and I think we see Tampa Bay's defense very strong. I think I hate to be against all the time like we're going at it, but I think it goes under the total. I think the Buccaneers defense shows up, and we have Washington has trouble putting points on the board in general. But we'll see how it goes. But I like the Washington plus the points.
I think the issue that you have here with Washington is that the defense, as good as the players are, have been absolutely hung out to dry by this offense, which is just ineptitude. The average person, the average NFL fan, and I'm not talking about like the fantasy football meatheads, I'm talking about like the average NFL fan, couldn't name 3 guys on the Washington football team, the Eskimos offense. I just think that that's part of the problem, and I think what also compounds the issue is that they are a turnover machine on offense. So it also makes those defensive stats, primarily points against, which they're almost dead last. They're not last in the NFL, but they're close to it. And a lot of those points, are set up by the turnover, because when you look at something like rushing yards against for Washington, they're 11th against the run. They're dead last against the pass against, Tom Brady, the number 1 quarterback in all time, and this season as well, having his best season he's ever had. You can't give Tom Brady a 30-yard field to work with. You cannot do it. If Washington turns the ball over once, this could be a blowout. I mean, like a blowout.
Oh, you've seen the Raiders and the Buccaneers on the road struggle a little bit. I think it was the Saints and at the Rams.
No, they have.
Other games
They have struggled on the road, no doubt about it. They got crushed at the Rams. They got crushed at the Saints. The last time we saw the Bucs, they got roasted. They got whipped. We were all on the Saints. We were on money line. But I don't know if I have so much faith in Heineke here against this team, and I just think they turn the ball over too much.
Yeah.
What game do you think will be the shocker of the day? Because to me, this could be the shocker of the day, Washington. Like last week we had a few.
The shocker Jets of the day?
Yeah.
I think
another Jets win.
Falcons.
That would be a good one.
I could see that too.
One of the bigger lines too.
Yeah.
So I think the Falcons can.
There's always one.
I think that, and I think the Browns can take the Patriots out too. Pretty good. I think we've seen them handle teams, and I think Mac Jones hasn't seen a pass rush like that.
Yeah, but Belichick at home.
Oh, I know. No, I'm with
get
you.
his coach on, and the Browns can't throw the ball.
You don't hear me listing my premium plays off here. So, I'm just throwing some things out. I like the Browns here because I do believe that we haven't seen Mac. What we've seen is Mac Jones check down. When he gets in trouble, and I think that the range of Myles Garrett size is going to be a problem for him on the check down. He's going to have to go to the opposite side, but there's no help there. There's
and the Browns do have the best third string running back in the league, I think, and Dearness Johnson, I think his name is. So it should be interesting. I think he can run the ball even without Chubb.
I think Baker Mayfield's actually not hideous this season. Not nearly as bad as we've seen him. Should be another interesting NFL Sunday. Of course, Joe and I will be here at halftime. Brian, what are you selling today at PickDawgz?
Yesterday was a hideous day, but I'm still 31-17, last 48 and 65%. So we're going to try to get back on track with a winning day. I got my Super Sharp Sunday NFL 3-pack, my 3 best NFL bets for $40 at PickDawgz.com. Team me up with one of the handicappers like Rod, who's number one 30 days. He's number one last 7 days. So team me up with one of the guys, and I'll have a winning day here. Or ladies, Joe, favorite handicapper. Anyway, check me out at PickDawgz.com.
Or you can get the Brian Bettler, Ron Romanelli, the Sharp Junior Sharp.
Yes. Yeah. Well, we might have the same plays, so because we're dialed in together. So
you never know.
Me and him think alike.
You never know. But anyways, well, that's a good thing. If you have two guys that have the same plays, I think that's a good thing. That's kind of like
he's like my younger brother. And
affirmation. And the worst is you have two guys that have opposite plays, and everything.
Oh, that is the worst.
Anyways, that's about it. Anything else, Brian? Hoops, college hoops. Stephen F. Austin, South Dakota State. Forgot to ask Roman.
I believe the best hockey game in the boards of Vancouver Canucks, but I've been terrible, absolutely it is in hockey, so take it for what it's worth. I like the Canucks today.
Joe, what do you like? You like any NHL today? You want to give out a pick? Is there any games? I didn't even look. I'm just.
I don't want to give out my. Yeah, I don't want to give out my premium pick. I just have one. Let me just look at the rest of the lines, see if anything else.
That's what I do.
Here.
I put people on the spot.
That's okay.
What do you think about the Florida State basketball game today?
Florida State all day. No premium pick because it's almost too obvious, right? It's like too obvious.
Well, you know me, I like the opposite of obvious, but that didn't work out too good with the Hurricanes. They got throttled yesterday.
Yeah, against UCF.
Yep.
Did not like the basketball.
Bad day for Miami yesterday.
So NHL play that I would look at as an underdog. I like the Devils as a free play as an underdog. Great plus money. They're 4-1 in their last 5 games. In the underdog situation against the Rangers, this Rangers team has not been playing well at home. I believe they're 2-5.
Oh, there's only 2 games.
7 at home.
I didn't realize. Oh, no, tomorrow there's only 2 games.
Yeah.
Oh.
So free play, the Devils, plus money.
I like St. Louis Blues. Mitchie Pucks. And the Ducks.
I like it. I just lost my Kings last night. They lost in overtime. It's plus money there. Hurt.
All right. Well, thanks everyone for joining us. Another fun show. We appreciate each and every one of you. We made it to the 2-hour mark nearly. 1:58, 10, 11, 12. So we appreciate each and every one of you. Have a winning day. Those of you that are premium members, you'll be getting in just a minute or two. And then probably in the next 15 minutes, the VIP show will start. So we'll see you guys then. Make it a winning day. Joe and I will see you in about 2.5 hours. Halftime of the early games. And, of course, we'll be here for all the halftimes all day long. So let's make it a winning day. I'm going to try like crazy to act more professional tomorrow. There's tons of college hoops. I'm going to have to really pull myself together. 11 NBA, Monday Night Football, college hoops, 2 NHL games. It's that time of year.